Would you kiss a stranger to destroy your ex? Even if that stranger was the most dangerous man in the room? Sienna did. She begged and pleaded with Luca Santoro, Mediterranean crime lord, to kiss her in front of 200 people. She didn't know who he was, or maybe she just didn't care. Didn't know that kiss made her his forever. Didn't know she'd just signed a contract in blood. Please subscribe right now because this revenge story gets darker, romantic, and more addictive than anything you've heard before. Please tell me where you're watching from. I love hearing from my viewers and knowing how far my stories travel. Stay glued to find out how one betrayal, one kiss that tasted like vengeance and expensive wine, and one murdered mentor burned an empire to ash. Sienna never imagined how much her life would change after that action. Now let me take you back 3 days. Back to the night Sienna's perfect life shattered like expensive glass hitting marble floors. Milan. Sienna Moreau stood in her gallery wearing white silk and champagne confidence. At 28, she clawed her way to becoming one of Europe's most respected wine authenticators. This was her first independent gallery opening. Everything she'd sacrificed for. Everything about to be destroyed. Her fiancé Julian cross-worked the room with that practiced smile that had first attracted her. Old money. Stability. Security. She'd said yes to his grandmother's ring because she loved him, but also because Julian opened doors she couldn't even find. That should have been her first warning. Her biggest client wanted a specific bottle. Sienna headed to her private tasting room to retrieve it. The door was locked from inside. Weird, she was the only one with access. She pushed it open and time stopped. Julian, shirtless. His hands on her cousin Natalia's bare shoulders. The 50,000 euro Chateau Latour she'd spent 3 years acquiring lay shattered on Italian marble like spilled blood. But what destroyed Sienna wasn't the betrayal. It was Natalia's expression. Not guilt. Triumph. Like ruining Sienna had been the goal all along, and she'd finally won. Did you really think he loved you for you? Natalia's voice stripped false sympathy. He needed your expertise to legitimize his family's operations. You were always just access, Sienna. A key to doors he couldn't open himself. Julian still hadn't apologized. He buttoned his shirt like someone getting dressed after the gym, not someone caught destroying his fiancée. We'll talk later. I have investors waiting. Something inside Sienna didn't break. It transformed. She walked to the nearest case with surgical precision, pulled out a 15,000 euro Margot, smashed it against the floor. The sound was magnificent, sharp, final, satisfying. Then another bottle. 8,000 euros Petrus shattered beautifully. Then another. Are you insane? Julian finally showed emotion, panic over money. That's my investment capital. His investment. Not her collection. Not her years of work. Get out, Sienna said, voice eerily calm. You have 60 seconds before I call security. They fled. And Sienna stood alone in ruins thinking, this is rock bottom. She was catastrophically wrong. 3 days passed in a fog of closed galleries and ignored calls from Julian that started apologetic and ended threatening. Sienna sat in her apartment drinking wine that tasted like ash until a man in a black suit knocked on her door at midnight, handed her a cream envelope with calligraphy that looked like it cost more than what she ate in a year, and disappeared. Inside, one card. Rare acquisitions auction. Tonight. 50,000 euro minimum bid. Come alone. Sienna knew what this was. Underground auctions where billionaires bought things never supposed to be sold. Art stolen during wars. Wine from deposed dictator cellars. Antiquities museums claimed were destroyed. She'd heard whispers, but never been invited. Didn't know how they got her name, or why they thought she had 50,000 euros to spare when she could barely afford electricity. But she had nothing left to lose, and sometimes when you're drowning you don't reach for life preservers. You reach for things that pull you deeper because at least the bottom is solid ground. The abandoned church was more beautiful than most buildings people maintained. Velvet chairs. Masked wealth. There were no phones, cameras, or paper trail. Just money, and the understanding that what happened here stayed here, or you disappeared. Sienna took paddle 73 and barely paid attention until the auctioneer announced Lot 17. A 1947 Chateau Margaux, authenticated by the late Isabelle Laurent. Starting bid, €100,000. Sienna's blood turned to ice. Isabelle Laurent, her mentor, the woman who'd taught her everything about wine, about building reputation in an industry that treated women like accessories. Isabelle had died 2 years ago in a car accident everyone called suspicious, but no one investigated. And now her last authenticated bottle was being auctioned like stolen goods. Grief transformed into fury. Sienna raised her paddle. €100,000. The bidding climbed. €300,000. €500,000. €750,000. Sienna was bidding money she didn't have for a bottle she couldn't afford, but this wasn't about money. This was about honoring Isabelle. Then a voice behind her, smooth as aged whiskey, dark as smoke, cut through her desperation. You bid like someone with nothing to lose. Those are my favorite kind of people. She turned, and everything stopped. The man wasn't handsome in conventional ways. He was devastating. 6'3" of controlled violence in a black suit. Dark hair, darker eyes, a scar through his left eyebrow. He looked like midnight personified, like storms pretending to be calm. Luca Santoro, head of the Santoro crime family. The man who controlled every smuggling route from Sicily to Monaco. At 35, he'd rebuilt his empire from literal ash after rivals murdered his father. And he was looking at Sienna like she was the most interesting thing in a room full of priceless stolen objects. "I'll win you that bottle, Bella," Luca said, voice dropping dangerously low. "But nothing comes free in my world. I don't have money to pay you." His smile was slow, lethal. "I don't want your money. I want your expertise. 6 months. You authenticate my collection. No questions. No authorities. No conscience." 6 months working for a crime lord. Trading her reputation, the only thing she had left, for a bottle of wine. Sienna should have said no. "There's one more thing," she heard herself say. "Win me that bottle, and I'll work for you. But first, kiss me. Here.
Now."
In front of everyone. The auction house went silent. 200 people watching a woman ask a mafia boss for a kiss like it was a transaction. Luca's expression didn't change.
"Why?"
"Because my ex-fiancé is 3 rows behind us." She'd recognized Julian despite his disguise. He was here buying stolen goods with family money. "I want him to see exactly what kind of woman he lost." Luca studied her for 5 endless seconds. Then he smiled, beautiful and terrifying. "When I kiss you, Piccola, it won't be for show. It'll be because you're mine now. Understood?" "Understood." Luca Santoro didn't do anything halfway. He cupped her jaw, large enough to be dangerous, gentle enough to be devastating, and kissed her like he owned things.
Completely.
Possessively. His hand tangled in her hair, pressed against her back, and Sienna forgot Julian existed. Forgot the auction. Forgot everything except the taste of smoke and wine and promises sealed in blood. When he finally pulled back, his thumb traced her bottom lip. 6 months. Starting tonight. He turned to the auctioneer. €1,000,000 for the Margaux. Close the bidding. And just like that, Sienna Moreau belonged to a mafia boss. If you're wondering if you'd have kissed him too, if you'd trade your life for revenge, hit that like button right now. Because what Sienna discovers about that bottle, about Isabelle's death, changes everything. The flight to Sardinia was 4 hours through darkness. Private plane. Luca working on his laptop, taking calls in rapid Italian about shipments definitely not legal. Sienna stared out the windows trying to process what she'd done. They landed at a private airstrip. The drive took 30 minutes through complete darkness until gates appeared, iron, 15 feet tall. They opened silently onto a 16th-century fortress perched on cliffs overlooking the Mediterranean. A castle, an empire, a kingdom operating by rules Sienna would need to learn quickly to survive. Luca led her through corridors lined with art belonging in museums. The staff nodded but didn't speak. 3 men with poorly concealed guns. This wasn't just a home, it was a command center. Your room, Luca said, opening a door into a suite larger than her entire apartment. Rest tonight. Tomorrow, I will show you the collection. The next morning, the wine cellar stole her breath. 3 levels deep, climate-controlled perfection. Row after row of wines that shouldn't exist. Every bottle here has a story, Luca said. Stolen, smuggled, recovered from shipwrecks. Your job is telling me which are real and which are beautiful lies. They worked through the morning. Some authentic, some sophisticated fakes. Lunch overlooking the sea, grilled fish, fresh bread. Luca ate efficiently but watched her constantly. Tell me about Isabelle Laurent, he said suddenly. So Sienna told him about meeting Isabelle at 22 when she was broke. How Isabelle had mentored her, taught her everything. How she died 2 years ago in a car accident everyone called suspicious, but no one investigated. She was driving from Geneva after authenticating a private collection, Sienna said. Car went off a mountain road. Investigation concluded she fell asleep. But Isabelle never fell asleep. Luca had gone very still. What was she authenticating? I don't know. She said she'd tell me after. She never got the chance. The 1947 Margot, I bought you, that was her last authenticated bottle. I know. Luca stood, walked to windows where sunlight turned him into a silhouette. That bottle shouldn't have been at that auction, Sienna. Isabelle's authenticated pieces don't circulate on black markets.
Someone wanted you to see it.
Someone wanted you exactly where you are right now. The implications hit like ice water. You think I was set up? I think Isabelle died because she discovered something. I think that Margot contains more than wine. And I think whoever killed her is watching to see if you're smart enough to figure out what she knew.
He turned.
Check the bottle. Really check it. They went back to the cellar. Sienna examined the Margot under magnification. Everything looked authentic except the weight was wrong. Slightly too heavy. At the bottom, a barely visible seam. Not a crack. Deliberate construction. A false bottom. Her hands shook. Luca, this bottle's been modified. She worked for an hour using delicate extraction tools. The cork came out cleanly. She poured wine, authentic 1947 Margot, then carefully worked the false bottom free. It separated with a soft click. Inside, sealed in waterproof resin, a USB drive and folded paper. Luca read it. Read it again. Then looked at Sienna with an expression she couldn't decode. Isabelle wasn't authenticating wine in Geneva. She was documenting a diamond smuggling operation run through wine shipments. He handed her the paper. At the top, the Cross family. Your ex-fiancé's family has been smuggling conflict diamonds through authenticated wine collections for 15 years. Isabelle discovered it. So they killed her. Sienna's vision blurred. She read names. Julian Cross. Marcus Cross, his brother who worked for Interpol. Their father Thomas. The entire operation laid out in Isabelle's handwriting. Julian didn't just use me for contacts, Sienna said, voice hollow. He used me to legitimize his family's smuggling. Every collection I authenticated, I provided cover for blood diamonds. Luca's hand found her shoulder, surprisingly gentle. You are a tool. Tools don't carry guilt. His fingers tightened. But now you have a choice. Give this to authorities, destroy the Cross family, get justice for Isabelle. Or give it to me. And I'll make sure they understand what happens to people who kill women I might have respected if I'd known her. What's the difference? Justice puts them in prison with the possibility of parole. Revenge ensures they lose everything and spend the rest of their lives knowing a woman they underestimated destroyed them completely. Luca's smile was sharp enough to cut. If you want them to hurt the way you hurt, give this to me. But that makes you complicit. That makes you mine in ways beyond authentication. That makes you part of my world permanently. Sienna had stopped being the woman who chose legal consequences the moment she kissed Luca in that church. I want them destroyed, she said clearly. Completely. And I don't care what that makes me. Luca's expression transformed into admiration and possession. Then we're partners. You help me plan this. You're there when it happens. You see their faces when they realize you're the reason they fell. He extended his hand. 6 months just became something longer. Are you sure? She took his hand. I've never been more sure. Over 3 weeks, something shifted between them. Late nights in the cellar tasting bottles that shouldn't exist. His hand on hers when teaching her to identify forgeries. The way he looked at her when she explained wine like poetry. One night at 3 a.m., both unable to sleep, they met in the cellar. Luca had already opened a 1959 Chateau Latour, the same vintage Julian destroyed. For closure, he said, pushing a glass toward her. The 59 survived the frost that killed most Bordeaux vines. It's about survival. About things that should have died, but didn't. Like you, Sienna said. Like both of us. His eyes found hers. You should have broken that night. Instead, you got angry. Anger is so much more useful than grief. They discussed the plan. Julian was hosting a charity gala in Monaco, wine auction benefiting, art preservation. A front. The real auction happened in back rooms where conflict diamonds were sold. I want you to authenticate the public collection, Luca said. Make Julian trust you. While you're doing that, my people infiltrate the diamond operation. We get everything, records, evidence, client lists. Then we release it simultaneously to press, Interpol, every major auction house in Europe. By sunrise, the Cross family won't just be arrested. They'll be pariahs. Ruined. Natalia will recognize me. Good. Luca leaned forward. Let her see you. Let Julian see you on my arm looking happier than you've ever been. Let them spend the night wondering what you know. His hand found hers. And when their world collapses, let the last thing they see be your face. Smiling. His thumb traced circles on her wrist. This was more than strategy. More than revenge planning. Luca, Sienna said quietly. What are we doing? Unless you're asking a different question. I'm asking why you look at me like I'm not just a tool you're using. Because you're not. You're mine. That wasn't a lie. He stood, pulled her to her feet. Tell me to stop. Tell me you don't feel what I feel when we're alone pretending we're only talking about wine. I feel it. I've been feeling it since you kissed me. Then let's find out if this is real. His voice was rough. Kiss me, Sienna. Not for show. Not for revenge. Kiss me because you want to. So she kissed him, rose onto her toes, threaded fingers into his hair, and kissed Luca Santoro where no one could see and nothing was performance. The kiss tasted like the 59 Latour, complex, layered, aged in darkness until it transformed into something rare. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Luca rested his forehead against hers. Still think this is just adrenaline?
No.
I think I'm falling for you, and I have no idea how to stop. Don't stop.
Fall.
I'll catch you. His hands slid to her waist. I always catch things that are mine. 2 weeks later, Monaco arrived. The gala. The reckoning. Sienna arrived on Luca's arm, wearing a gown the color of fresh blood. Julian saw them immediately. His face went pale, then red, then settled into rage disguised as composure. The operation was clockwork perfect. Sienna authenticated feature collections while Luca's team infiltrated back rooms, hacking servers, planting recording devices, gathering evidence. Then Natalia found Sienna in the bathroom. She blocked the door, face twisted with desperation. I know why you're here, Natalia hissed. Julian told me his father handled Isabelle, that she was getting too close. And now you think you can destroy us? Sienna's blood ran cold. Julian told you they killed Isabelle? He bragged about it. Natalia's laugh was bitter. Said his father made it look like an accident.
And you know what?
I didn't care. But Julian's using me the same way he used you. When he's done, he'll throw me away too. For one strange moment, Sienna almost pitied her. Almost. Then help me destroy them. I can't. They'll kill me. That's why Isabelle died. Sienna pulled out her phone and texted Luca. Now. The bathroom door burst open. Not Luca. Marcus Cross with 4 armed Interpol agents. Sienna Moreau, you're under arrest for conspiracy, possession of stolen property, and association with known criminal Luca Santoro. Gunshots exploded from the main gallery. Marcus's radio erupted with panic. Shots fired. Multiple hostiles. The lights went out. Complete darkness. Someone grabbed Sienna's hand. Familiar, strong. Run. Luca's voice.
Now.
They ran through corridors while shouts and gunfire echoed. A black van screeched around the corner, door already open. They dove inside. Inside, Luca's men, laptops showing news sites already running headlines about the Cross family, and Natalia, mascara running, absolutely terrified. She knows where the original records are stored, one of Luca's men explained. Physical copies proving everything going back 20 years. Sienna's phone exploded with notifications. The most important from an unknown number. Ms. Moreau, Detective Claire Rousseau, French Financial Crimes. We've received your evidence. We need your testimony. You're in danger. Luca read it. They want you to testify, which means telling them everything, including about me, my operations, everything you've seen. His jaw tightened. If you do this, I can't protect you anymore. The evidence is circumstantial without witness testimony, Sienna said. Julian's lawyers will tie it up for years. His family will destroy documents, kill anyone who knows too much. Then you know what you have to do. Luca's man pulled up security footage, Geneva, 2 years ago. Isabelle entering a building. 6 hours later, leaving with Thomas Cross. They appeared to be arguing. The footage cut to a parking garage. Thomas grabbed Isabelle, pushed her against a car. The footage jumped, clearly edited. When it resumed, Isabelle was on the ground, not moving. She didn't die in a car accident, Luca said quietly. Thomas Cross killed her. His people staged the accident 3 days later. I've had this footage for 8 months. Been waiting for the right moment. 8 months. Rage built in Sienna's chest. You've known and didn't tell me? If I'd told you, you would have gone to authorities immediately. And Marcus Cross would have buried it. He was right. Sienna hated that he was right.
Send it, she said.
Send that footage to Detective Rousseau, with my testimony. And send copies to every major news outlet in Europe. I want the world to see Thomas Cross murder Isabelle Laurent. The van stopped at a private marina. A boat waited, engine running. You have two choices, Luca said. Come with me to Argentina. Testify remotely via video link. Help put the Cross family in prison while staying alive. Or go into protective custody and hope you survive long enough to testify in court. He paused. I know which one Isabelle would tell you to choose. Sienna's phone rang. Detective Rousseau. This is Sienna Moreau. Where are you? We just received footage of Thomas Cross murdering Isabelle Laurent. With your testimony, I'll testify, but on my terms, remotely from a secure location. I'll appear via video link for trial, but I'm not coming into custody. I'm not putting myself where the Cross family can reach me. We can protect you, like you protected Isabelle Laurent?
No.
I cooperate fully, but I do it from safety, or I don't do it at all.
Pause.
I'll need to consult. You have 12 hours. After that, I'm gone, and you lose your star witness. Sienna ended the call. Luca was smiling. That's my girl. They boarded the boat. As Monaco's lights receded, Sienna watched news helicopters circling the hotel where Interpol was arresting everyone connected to the gala. One message came through from a block number. You destroyed my family. I'll destroy you.
Count on it.
J. Luca read it, then threw her phone into the Mediterranean. You'll need a new identity, anyway. Sienna Moreau died tonight. The woman who disappears with me is someone new. Someone Julian Cross can never find. And who is this new woman? Luca pulled her close. Whoever you want to be. But choose someone who never apologizes for being dangerous. Choose someone who looks at ashes and builds something better. I choose someone who loves you, Sienna said. Everything else is negotiable. They kissed as the boat cut through dark water, leaving Monaco behind. Somewhere in that city, the Cross Empire was collapsing. Somewhere, Isabelle's death was finally being called murder. But Sienna wasn't there to see it. She was heading to Argentina with a Mafia boss who taught her that survival sometimes meant disappearing. That justice sometimes meant waiting. That love sometimes meant choosing the dangerous path, because at least it was honest about the cost. 6 months later, Detective Rousseau watched a video screen where a woman with short blonde hair testified against Thomas, Julian, and Marcus Cross with devastating precision. Every technical expert in Europol had tried and failed to find her location. She testified for 4 days. Finally, she watched via video link as the judge sentenced Thomas Cross to life in prison for Isabelle Laurent's murder, Julian to 25 years for diamond smuggling, Marcus to 15 years for corruption. Do you have any final statement, Ms. Moreau? Yes, Your Honor. Isabelle Laurent taught me that some things are worth fighting for even when fighting costs everything. Justice for people who can't fight for themselves. Truth when everyone deals in lies. I fought for her the only way I knew how. I hope she knows I didn't let them get away with it. The video link went dark. Detective Rousseau never saw or heard from Sienna Moreau again. But 10 years later, a new authentication firm opened in Buenos Aires. The owner was a blonde woman named Sophia Dumont who spoke perfect Italian, Spanish, and French. She worked exclusively with private collectors and had a reputation for identifying forgeries that fooled everyone else. And every year on Isabelle Laurent's death anniversary, someone left a 1947 Chateau Margaux on her daughter's doorstep with a note. Your mother was extraordinary. She changed my life. She taught me that some bottles are meant to be opened and some stories are meant to be told, and some people are worth avenging even when vengeance costs everything. Thank you for sharing her with the world. S. Isabelle's daughter never discovered who S was. But she kept every bottle, and every year She drank a glass on her mother's birthday and toasted the mysterious woman who'd made sure her mother's murderers never walked free. Somewhere in Buenos Aires, in a wine cellar beneath a fortress by the sea, a blonde woman and a man with salt and pepper hair drink stolen vintage and plan their next acquisition. Partners. Equals. Two people who destroyed empires and built new ones and learned that sometimes the only way to honor who you were meant to be is to destroy who you were pretending to be. If this story touched you, if it made you think about your own Julian, the person who underestimated you, drop a comment right now. Tell me where you're from. Tell me if you'd have the courage to destroy your enemies and rebuild yourself from nothing. Hit that subscribe button, because every day I bring you Mafia romance stories about people who chose themselves, who chose power, who chose truth over comfortable lies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.